So, anyone who's taken a basic algebra course understands what a parabola is. For those who either don't know or haven't taken high school algebra in a while, all you really need to know is that a parabola is the graph of the function y equals x squared. This means that for every x value, the y value is the square of it. A parabola also kind of resembles the letter U, or N if it's flipped. One day I thought to myself, how could I represent this musically? So I figured out 3 ways to do it. The first parabola I created is what I labeled as the intervallic parabola. To do this, I used middle C, C4, as my zero value. I placed middle C in the center of the measure with 7 rests on either side of it. Parabolas, as many may know, go on for infinity, unless their domain or range is restricted. I had to restrict the domains in order to keep this practical, as I don't have the time to make an actually infinite one. Once I had my zero value in place, I worked my way outward. I started with the positive side of the parabola, since ascending intervals come a bit easier to me. I used semitones as my y-axis. For each y value, I moved that many semitones from C4, so C sharp was my 1 value. I continued this pattern until I'd counted 49 half steps up from C4. Then I went back to C4 and did the same thing descending to represent the negative side of the parabola. Here's what that ended up sounding like. The second parabola I created was a melodic parabola. This was the simplest of the 3. I didn't use mathematical calculations for this one, I simply used notes on the staff to try my best to draw a relatively good-looking parabola. There are no accurate ratios as far as I know in this parabola, it was simply for looks, but it still sounded fairly interesting. The third and final parabola I created was a rhythmic parabola. For this one, I used tuplets and multiple measures of 1/8. I restricted this one to 6 in each direction. I used 13 measures of 1/8. I located the 7th measure and went outward from the center again. The sequence looked like this in the end. The rest in the center measure is to represent the 0 value. This one produced an unexpected but interesting result. In the end, I was pretty satisfied with my results. I've always been interested in these sort of experiments and ways of connecting my passion for music with other subjects and finding interesting patterns and making discoveries within them. I can't say there was one particular thing that gave me the idea for this concept specifically, I was just thinking of interesting musical questions I had. I hope to do a lot more of these little interesting experiments in the future. I encourage those out there who are as curious, if not more curious than I was, to try to find other ways to create musical parabolas, or try to graph other mathematical functions using musical notation. One of the most interesting and enlightening lessons I've learned about music is how a staff can be compared to a Cartesian graph, and I hope people can use this video as inspiration to find more connections between these two ideas. Well, that's about it for this one. I'm glad to finally have a real video on this channel. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I have a lot of plans for future videos. Also, check out my other channel, JCGames. I've tried a couple times to make gaming channels, but I just couldn't figure out the right way to do it. I'm hoping this one ends up working well. But I just uploaded the first episode of a Super Mario Maker series with my buddy Ryan from the channel R2B-Eaten. Don't forget to check that out and subscribe to JCGames too. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.